Hi, everyone. Marissa Stone here, owner of the Systems Lounge and host of the brand spanking new Women's Biz Systems podcast. And I want to welcome you today to the 2019 Premier International Business Systems Virtual Summit Speaker Spotlight Series, where you get to meet and greet many of our coveted speakers. So not only do you get to learn a little bit more about them here, but inside the summit, you get to learn from the best and support women coming out of domestic violence. So get ready to skyrocket your income, multiply your productivity, and magnify your impact Automagically. And inside this Speaker Spotlight series, we are now into week 3, leading up to the summit. And this week, we will be meeting all the amazing speakers inside our track 3. Now, for those of you who have not yet checked out our track 3, the link is in the description and or in the title of this session. Track 3 is our bank up track, where all the speakers inside that track are sharing all the ways in which they hone in, focus on profits, focus on cash infusions, and really focus on their bottom line so that they can systematize and scale their businesses. And right now, I am super stoked to have Lindsey Aleson here. Inside our track 3, she covers her system for how to truly prioritize in order to gain those profits. But here we are going to talk with her about her role as an entrepreneur and how that's truly made her grow. Lindsey, I'm so stoked to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So it was really interesting as I was reading over some of the information that you shared with me, and you've taken the traditional route and you've done the education and you've done the traditional job in the corporate environment. But what you found was truly the role of entrepreneur has been what has been the wow factor for you. Talk with us about that.
Yeah, so when it goes way back to when I was 11 years old. So my grandpa's an aerospace engineer, and we used to live with them when we were younger, and I'm his favorite. He'll even say it, so we don't even need to sugarcoat it. But so for my 11th birthday, he surprised me with computer parts laid out on the pool table, and we built my first computer.
Wow.
So shortly after that, I discovered these drag and drop doll websites that were way popular back in the day. That's like 20 years ago now, which is crazy.
We won't talk about how many years ago.
I got super interested in it, and the design and the coding. And I taught myself how to code by literally just inspecting the back end code and teaching myself, because back in those days, you only had Notepad.
Yeah,
didn't have any of the fancy stuff that would auto populate all of the code for you, which is super nice now. But so I taught myself how to design and how to code, and I had my first website at like 11 years old. I had my drag and drop doll website, so I was probably the only person I knew with a website.
Right.
Kind of fast forward going through high school and stuff. I didn't really go to school that much. I played hooky. I wasn't doing anything really bad. I was up all night coding, learning stuff on the computer, and just too tired. I was totally bored in school.
Right.
Bored in school. And at that point, I didn't really see web design or anything like that as a career option, because it was still relatively new.
Yeah.
Back then. So I went to school. I first thought business, then I thought computer engineering. My grandpa's an engineer. I love computers. There was kind of this dance back and forth. It took me 8 years to get through school because I kept changing my major.
Right.
A few times I couldn't figure out what I wanted because I get bored, I guess, really, really easily. And always
and nothing was clicking for you. Like nothing was working. Nothing had the opportunity to stimulate your brain and keep you engaged for any length of time. So yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, the change actually happened is when I decided to move back to Colorado. I was going to do computer science. At least that's how I was getting into the school, and I was going to change it. But last minute, like before registering, I decided to switch to journalism, which was like a 180. And I was like, oh no, is like my grandpa going to be disappointed or anything? But it turned out to be the best decision for me, because I got in at a time where they were figuring out this convergent journalism thing. So I got to pretty much make my own major. So I took all of the design classes, so magazine design, page layout and design, all of the PR classes. I took writing, reporting. I added in some marketing and finance, and I got to pull in all of my web design classes and stuff that I had already taken to get a certificate. So I got to like create this degree and I wasn't bored because I got to pick stuff I learned. I pulled it in from all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's finally what I graduated with. And then after that, I moved back home to California, and I got the corporate job.
Yeah.
I loved it at first. I was working on the website, making all of these updates, and they were saying how fast of a learner I was. And I actually started as a temp, and they quickly hired me because I was like doing such a great job. And
Right.
I quickly got bored, and
Right.
it was
like it's fun to update a website the first time, but after about the 10th time, I'm over this. You know?
Yeah, and it was kind of okay at first because I had a great boss, and she asked me what I wanted to do, so we were kind of expanding some of my roles. But then we merged, and I got a new boss, and she had one of me in Florida where she was based, and I liked her as a person. We didn't mesh as like boss me working under her. I don't know if this is true, but I don't think it was her decision to keep me. I think it was our CMOs who I had worked with.
Yeah.
It just, my responsibilities started dwindling to not like nothing. Like I had nothing to do. It was, I was super stressed and not motivated. I was getting sick because of the stress.
Yeah.
And I just realized it wasn't really the place for me. And I was working on my business at that time. And my boss actually confronted me, and I was like totally sidetracked. I was like, and I guess she's like, she thinks it's a conflict of interest. HR didn't. It was not, because I wasn't working with the same people or doing any of the same stuff.
Right.
And I was just so blindsided. And I actually quit shortly after that because I kind of had like a meltdown. And I realized that I liked the control. And I was feeling bad because I was getting sick. So I have asthma. So having to take time off, them feeling like they think I'm faking it or something. Because sometimes asthma is not like a visible thing. Like you can't tell when I can't breathe if I'm not, if I'm not hacking, it's not a visible.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was such an issue. But then I started working on my own stuff and really being able to kind of branch out into what I wanted to learn, what I wanted to try, who I wanted to work with on the projects I wanted to work with, and having the freedom to take the day off to go to Disneyland if I had the opportunity to do so, just made me so much happier.
Yeah.
And I'll put it this way. It's been about 2 years since I quit that job. And I haven't had as many health problems. They've almost dwindled down to, I don't want to say none because I still have asthma, but
well, it's a big difference, right? It's now all of a sudden you now have control over the things going on in your life, and you're actually the one who's calling the shots. So it's not all this stuff being put upon you. So talk with us about how this transition into entrepreneurship has truly helped you to grow.
Yes. So I'm also a very shy and introverted person. So I was super shy when I was at work. I feel we probably could have had conversations earlier,
right?
Or maybe even at all if I would have tried to be a little bit more assertive and talk about it. And I was so shy, and I was emotional because I was stressed. So it was just like a hot mess. And even at school, I was kind of always that shy person. So that journalism that had to kick me out of it because I had to interview people and stuff. So that really got me out of my comfort zone. And then realizing with the business, when you're an entrepreneur, you do it all. You do the sales, you have to talk with the people. You don't just sit in your own little box and do the work. You're actually accountable for so much. And ever since I've really started to focus on it and grow, I'm still shy, but not as shy. Like obviously I can do.
Obviously here.
I have a joint podcast with a friend now. I'm more vulnerable on social media. Like I don't second guess fully what I share, as much being like, oh, are they going to think I'm weird, or am I going to think this? And now I know you have to be yourself, and you're going to polarize people regardless. Not everybody's going to like you. And that's actually a good thing because not everybody, is your target.
Right.
And it's something really hard to learn when you're first going into it. Is you don't realize what being an entrepreneur really does for you as a person, because I have changed and grown so much in so many different ways. I've become more confident in myself and my knowledge. I show up more. I've gone to big events by myself, which is something I don't think I would ever have done before. I have met people from around the world, around the country. I now have friends all over the country, the world, some that I talk to every single day that I wouldn't have met if I was stuck at a normal job doing your cubicle. So it really grows your confidence, and you don't realize that it's going to be a side effect.
Yeah.
Starting your own business. And I think you just start to learn who you are as a person and what you really value. And again, it was stuff I didn't really think of when I just thought, okay, I'm going to do graphic design and design stuff and do websites. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm a whole other person. Like looking back to when I started college, even when just switching to the journalism before I really started focusing on all of this stuff, I was just like, I was really a completely different person. Like I was married back then and now I'm like divorced, I literally changed so much. And
well, you've grown so much, right?
I'm a completely different person.
Yeah. And I've known you for a couple of years now, and I've seen major growth, especially in this last year where you've really come into your own and, you're doing some amazing things. And so I love it. It's phenomenal. Okay. Speaking of getting to know you, we want to take an opportunity right now and put you in the hot seat. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I just want you to think about the first thing that comes to mind with regard to the questions. I just want you to think of the first thing that you can think of when I ask. Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. What is your favorite food?
Mexican.
Yeah, me too. Tex-Mex or just more?
No, Mexican. I live in Southern California. So
okay, so you get the real deal.
Yeah, I do like the deep fried tacos, which aren't really, where I'm actually probably having Mexican for lunch right after this. So I'm very excited.
Now you got it on the brain. Okay, what about your favorite beverage?
Unfortunately, it is Coke. I'm trying to cut down, but yeah.
That's hilarious. It's an addiction, right?
It is.
What about your favorite season of the year?
I would have to say fall. So I'm very excited that we're coming into that season.
Coming up fast. Okay, what about your favorite piece of technology?
That's hard because I'm a techie.
I know.
But, I don't know, maybe my phone, maybe like the iPhone, just because you get to connect with so many people. And I remember my little flip phone back in the days, and now you can literally talk to people, voice, from all around the world. So.
And remember the hitting the button multiple times before you got the letter? Okay. So are you a morning or a night person?
A night person.
Okay. Gold or silver?
Rose gold.
Rose gold. Okay. How about coffee or tea?
Tea.
Herbal teas or like black or orange?
Black or green. I like all tea. I don't like coffee. So.
Okay. All right. How about chocolate or caramel?
Chocolate.
All right. And iOS or Android? I'm assuming iOS because you talked about your iPhone.
Yes. If we're talking phones, I am an Apple user.
Okay.
Computers on PC, but.
Okay. All right. What is one of your weird quirks that most people don't know about you?
I don't know if it's necessarily a quirk, but I'm double jointed in my elbows.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know how well it'll show on camera, but yeah.
Yeah, probably won't, but that's pretty cool. Okay. What is a bucket list item that you have not yet completed?
Go to all of the Disney parks around the world. I've only been to California and Florida.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good bucket list item. Okay. The last question I want to ask you is what motivates you to show up for your audience the way you do each and every day?
Yeah, so I just love helping fellow female entrepreneurs. I know I was kind of stuck in that job where I was miserable, getting sick, and I want to help people get out of that. And I know we're so multi-passionate that a lot of times you do just kind of get stuck in that hole, and you don't get to grow, you don't get to see your full potential. Mm-hmm. And then on a more personal note, I love doing it for myself because I like to be home with my cats. Neither one made an appearance in this video, which is very very odd, but just to be home with my family and to be able to spend that time to go to lunch with my sister, which I'm doing right after this, or with my mom or any of that. And I do want to help people be able to do that because that's what having a business does allow you to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you say it like that because you're truly designing your business around your lifestyle. You're saying, these are the wonderful things I want to be able to do. And my business is a component in that, but I'm not working to live. And so I love the way that you describe that. Guys, you definitely want to make sure that you do not miss Lindsey's session. Again, if you have not yet clicked on the link, it's in the description and in the title of this session here. The summit goes live September 23rd through the 27th. Lindsey is inside our track 3, and she talks all about how to really hone in and focus on building those profitable activities inside your company. Lindsey, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I have had such a great time chatting with you and getting to know you better.
Yes, it was so much fun.
Guys, we will see you inside the summit, and we'll also see you inside the next Speaker Spotlight. Bye, everyone.